Novo Nordisk, one of my favorite turnaround stories, if you can call it that, on the scorecard right now, grew its obesity drug franchise, mostly Wegovy here in the United States, at 41% in constant exchange rates. That's good. That's actually lower than the 56% that we saw in 2024. There's still a lot of competition from Eli Lilly, Mounjaro that's out there for weight loss in the United States, as well as Hims and Hers and other compounders who are actually using Novo's compounds and putting them in kind of these cocktails that they're selling at lower price points, much more diluted. Novo, of course, hates that the companies are doing that, but it's hard to get around that because it was facing supply shortages when they first manufactured this a couple years ago. Some interesting new developments. Medicare is now going to be covering Wegovy for weight loss in 2025. Medicare never paid that in the past. That was always out of pocket. It was $1,200 a month on average across the United States. Now you've got insurance paid by the government that's going to pick up the tab for that. Trump RX is also going to offer a lower priced option, maybe a couple $100, maybe $100, $200 for a lower dosage that it wants to release here next year as well. I think we're going to see some pricing concessions, not only for Medicare, but also for Trump RX. I think it's going to push down gross margins in 2026 in exchange for much higher volumes. So we'll keep an eye on the number of scripts that are written next year. We're also seeing a much more efficient organization, right? Mike Dowdstar, the new CEO coming in, he's been with the company for several decades, really knows his stuff. He immediately came in, laid off 9,000 employees, is streamlining a lot of the organization to be much more focused on commercial execution. You know, Danish company Novo Nordisk has been kind of slow moving. A lot of this has been kind of philosophical. You know, how is this going to change the world of health? You know, how much research can we do? That's good. You want to have good research going into your drugs, but there's got to be more of a focus on execution and profits and making sure that we're not meeting supply shortages when we finally have something that hits out there. This is a guy that's been in operations for the past 2 decades. I think he's going to streamline this successfully and turn Novo Nordisk into a much more fine-tuned machine. They also were in a bidding war with Pfizer to acquire a company called Metsera. Metsera was developing its own GLP-1. This is an obesity drug pill, an oral pill, not an injection like Wegovy is right now. It was in phase 3. In many ways, it was kind of competing against the oral pills that Novo Nordisk was developing in its own pipeline. Pfizer put the first bid out 2 months ago for $5 billion for Metsera. And Novo, whether this was strategic, that they really wanted it for their own, accelerating their own pipeline, or they just wanted to push the price up on Pfizer, they got the price that Pfizer was willing to offer up to basically $10 billion, double over a 2-month period just by this bidding war. Pfizer ultimately looks like it's going to win this bid, but for better or for worse, Novo made them pay a premium for the stock, for the company. I'm reaffirming Novo Nordisk as a buy. I put in parentheses a strong buy. It was just a recommendation last month, so it's not eligible to be a strong buy or a best buy yet. But this is a company that I'm very excited about, that I think is being undervalued by the stock market.